Welcome back to Biz 15. This is episode 11. I'm joined by Mark and Liam from the Sheffield Eagles. We'll go into some business-related questions about sport. So, I think it was a couple of years ago. I think it might have been during the start of COVID, to be fair, when my daughter was born, and she was, getting up at stupid o'clock in the morning, and like, right, what do we put on Netflix? And there was a documentary on Sunderland FC, and it was almost like a deep dive into the club's, or to the club owners' day-to-day activities. And for me, as a business owner, but then actually looking at a sport club, I never realised how actually like a business that the sports club are ran. And I know that sounds daft, but because it actually is a business. Open question to either of you is, when you're thinking about your roles, is business planning important as a general manager or as a commercial manager?
From my point of view, yes, but I think where the club's been sort of, since I've been involved, like I said, we talked about us being nomadic, that it's always been hard to plan, because from season to season we've not been able to, sort of our off-season has been focused on trying to find a home ground and then working all the operational side around that and launching tickets and off the back of it, and then putting on travel for fans and things like that. So hopefully with the new stadium down at the Sheffield Olympic Legacy Park, we can then go right, and our next off-season we're developing more match day activation, we can plan a bit better, we can better our offering for fans and things like that. So yeah, during COVID we sort of was aware this is going to happen, and we're confident we will have a base for X number of years, that we need to start putting a business plan in place for the club to develop, because we haven't really planned, and we know how crucial it is to have a business plan in place, but we've not been able to implement one because we've sort of been going from month to month not knowing what's going to happen. Yeah, and it'll massively help on the commercial side of things, so actually have that plan in place, to not just have a plan for now or for the season, but actually where's the club going to go in the future and how we're going to get there, and creating that plan to be able to work towards.
Absolutely, and I think that's probably what the club lacked over a long time before, certainly before my involvement and probably before Liam's involvement, is time is something we don't have a lot of. In terms of staffing at the club, there's Liam, who's full-time, there's Mark Aston, who's our director of rugby, and there's myself, who's contracted to do a certain amount of days a week, and between the three of us we run this club. So to have the time to do all that is difficult. So what I've tried to do with our financial director is put the systems in place to make sure that information is at hand, easy to gather and quick, to enable us to plan for the future. So instead of saying, what are we going to do next month, we can start building marketing budgets into place to give Liam the tools he needs to bring fans in, give me a commercial budget to put things in place to bring sponsors in, and sometimes you have to put a little out there to get a lot back. Yeah. And that's where we are now. We've got plans. Yeah,
and I guess if you're not doing it, the other clubs are, and it's like, how are you meant to compete with them if you're not doing what potentially the next step up or the next step up from that is?
If I'm not fighting for that bit of commercial revenue from these companies in South Yorkshire, Rotherham United are doing it, Rotherham Titans are doing it, Sheffield United are doing it, Wednesday are doing it, Barnsley are doing it. There's clubs out there fighting for it. The Sharks are doing it,
and it's
the
not
Steelers.
Yeah, it's really interesting, because you're not necessarily in competition just with rugby league clubs. You're in competition with everyone else. There's all the other
on the pitch. You're in competition with 13 other clubs in the Betfred Championship, and fighting to stay up also in the playoffs, and then make sure we've got a good product on the pitch. So you're that side you're competing, whether that's with players or whether that's bums on seats and things like that. But then we're competing, like Mark says, from a business point of view from that side. But then it's what a family of four want to spend sort of 40-50 quid on a Friday night or Sunday afternoon, and that's not just sport, that's going to Meadowhall or going to Cineworld or going wherever and spending that money. That we need to be an attractive proposition to go, you know what, as a family that's an event we want to go to. So we need to better our match days around that, and ensure that we're competing not just with the likes of the Steelers, the Sharks and the football, but anything that a family wants to go and spend some money on a Friday night.
And a budget from on the commercial side of things will help to be able to look to putting things in place for games. So it's not just the game. I don't say that in any disrespect. It's not just going to watch the rugby. It's about going to the event, and there's a game of rugby on, and there's loads of other things going on.
So there's two things. Twice I've been involved with this club, and I've really underestimated the work involved. First is this stadium, and the work Liam's done it around the match day experience. Not only we just move in, turn up, put the shirts out and play, there's a whole infrastructure behind it. The other one was when we went to Wembley in 2019, and just a complete eye-opener, the amount of work involved in that. But there's so much there to do, but if we can put this stuff in place, not only does it give us a budget to work to and work forward to, it enables us to plan cash flow going forward. So we know approximately how much we take on a game of X amount of attendees. So we know next year if we've got that crowd, we expect this, we can build a cash flow so we can budget better going forward.
And then, like you said, the cash flow and the budget is then just put back into the match day experience, so it's almost circular growth, isn't it? Just you get some invest, get some in it, then just keeps going.
It's like, again, we've spoken about this a number of times in office, it's a big circle. We're a business, we invest in the team, we do better, it brings the fans in, we make more money, we invest in the business, it enables the back office side of things, it brings more money in, we then invest back in the rugby, and it's a complete circle and you keep going and keep building.
But you're a business owner as well, Mark, outside of rugby. What challenges do you face from devoting time to be able to juggle both? How do you manage it?
Well, when the sun's up, it's rugby. When the sun's down, it's printing, pretty much. No, we do what's needed for the club, really. It's a labour of love and, something that I'm totally entrenched in. So I make the time work. It does eat into my family time sometimes. But I'm quite strict that non-match day weekends, 5 o'clock on a Friday, a switch off.
I think we've got to say as well, as a club, we've benefited, but also Mark's probably benefited as well. That Mark's done through his business, he's done some introductions for the club and then brought some sponsors in that way, but also flip side that for some of our sponsors and that way back. So it's been really beneficial, and seeing that side that we've utilised it quite well, I think.
It's a good two-way relationship from my perspective. It's opened doors for me that I couldn't have opened myself, and vice versa. I put my business contacts and people into the club who you'll see on the kits next season.
And from your point of view, what's the potential similarities between your business and the Eagles? There must be. They're both businesses at the end of the day. So there must be same similarities around planning and cash flow and things like that.
The processes behind the scenes are non-identical. The product is what I do as a business. Print, it's a solid product. You can ship in a business card or a box of leaflets. Products in the rugby as a player, which is unpredictable and hard to manage sometimes, but sometimes they're amazing and they achieve great things and put myself and probably speak for Liam here in places that we could never imagine being. A real box pitch at Wembley and things like that. So at the end of the day, it's a business, whether we're doing rugby, whether we're doing print or we're selling cars or anything like that, it's a business. It's the bottom line.
And every business comes with a challenge, no matter what, whether you've got an actual tangible product that you're selling or whether your product's on the pitch. It all comes with challenges around business planning, and not every business is in a fortunate position to just sail through life and not have any challenges.
The thing for me when you look at challenges and how we plan for a business is, for me as a printer, I know the market, I know what paper costs, I know what people are selling business cards for. It's quite easy to gauge that. And again, I'm only picking up what I hear from the rugby side of things. When we sit here and we plan for the next season about playing budgets and things like that, someone will say, well, this club's spending this. But it's only what the chairman or somebody's saying or what they're putting out there. And is that gamesmanship? And it's a very difficult thing to factor in and to budget for.
Well, like Mark talks about our product as well, like next season, this will be the first time that we'll be able to sell our own food, sell our own drink and profit from that, hopefully. So again, whilst that is our product on the pitch at 80 minutes, that if we don't pull a pint right, or if we serve a rubbish pie, or the programme's not a good quality, or the tickets don't look good, then that's all us as well. So we need to make that look good.
Brand, isn't it?
Yeah, it's our brand. Yeah. So again, in the past, we've probably been guilty of having cheap-looking tickets or poor-looking programme or whatever it is. We need to make sure all that is around the matchday experience as well. And then, outside of that, whether it's the cheerleaders or whether it's whatever it is around making that matchday great, and that's our product. Whether it's the tangible or intangible, that it's a look and brand.
What's the main challenge that you're facing as general manager then in your industry at the moment, to be able to not potentially challenge in terms of growth or anything like that? It could be challenge around making sure that business plans comes to fruition. Or...
Yeah, I think there has been a lot of uncertainty, and again, it's not just ourselves. So every club that we don't know sort of distribution from our governing body, that was sort of coming a bit later, and things change on that front, and we've only just got the numbers on that, but again, I appreciate where the RFLs come from on that one. So that was big uncertainty, and again, how the divisions will look, how the leagues will look, and things like that going forward. There's a lot of uncertainty around that, but I think sports as general, I think we, and particularly ourselves, that we've got an older fan base, and it's very difficult now that there is a lot of things that the younger generation want to do. And again, getting them to do something for 80 minutes, even if it's just literally coming in for kick-off and leaving after 80 minutes, that's very tough because everything is narrowed down to 1 or 2 minute highlights or whatever it is, and on the phones and stuff. So that will be tough for sport. And again, you look at what cricket's done over the summer with their new competition they launched and things like that, and the new branding and things like that to engage a younger new audience. So I think that's what our sport potentially needs to do, whether that's nines or whether that's, again, we're still an 80-minute sport, so whether revamping and making sport look better, because again, it's a older generation that is still watching the sport predominantly, and we need to bring in that younger audience.
And do you guys put an emphasis on brand development then, to make sure that not just a physical logo and how you look and how you're perceived, it's more that full 360 brand going all the way from what you're doing in the community all the way to how you look on marketing material? Yeah,
we try to. It's always difficult because, again, we've got volunteers, we've got staff that work on certain days and things like that, so to make everything tie up is difficult sometimes, but it's one of them things I'm quite get a bee in my bonnet about. It. We should have consistency around our brand. We changed our logo the back end of 2019 on the basis that we thought we was going to be coming back into Sheffield in 2020, then COVID hit and things like that. So we've got I believe what is a solid logo for Sheffield Eagles now that we can develop and build off the back of, and then branding on the back of that as well, and utilise that and make sure that people's aware of Sheffield Eagles and they know where it is. Because again, I think in Sheffield and South Yorkshire, people don't know who Sheffield Eagles are still sometimes, and we need to build that awareness and ensure that we're in the sort of consciousness of the general population, really.
No, I think it's important for any business, whether you're a manufacturing organisation, a consultancy and training provider like us, a sport-related organisation, that you've got to be identified for something. You've got to be known for being somewhere, but you've also got to be known for the product that you're delivering. But then it's all about the social value stuff as well. It kind of all comes into brands to be able to drive the business forwards. And if you don't have it, your aspirations to move up or to diversify or to change, you're going to really struggle with it, because no one knows who you are, no one knows where you are, no one knows what you do. And I think that what you guys are doing around the stadium, being involved with the community stadium, and everything that you're doing, both from moving back into Sheffield and doing a big marketing piece around that, is only going to help the club, or it's going to help you in your role as well, Mark, around bringing those businesses back in. Is there anything that you're doing or that's in the business plan that's kind of capitalising on that?
In terms of
when we're coming back into Sheffield and around the stadium and the brand piece?
Yeah, absolutely. Everything we're doing is linked to the new stadium, bringing it back in. We're trying to get the brand out there. Part of the business club we'll provide them a small icon to put on email footers, websites, so that not only they can see their link with the Sheffield Eagles, but the Sheffield Eagles can see their link with them as well. We can then probably track the click-throughs to the website and things like that. So the brand is important, and the new modern brand, as I call it, over the last brand, has really helped drive it forward. And it helps as well from a modernisation point of view, and from a print point of view. It looks a lot better on the business cards and things like that.
And with the business plan, it's sort of 5-6 years, so we know it's not going to happen overnight, that we kick off next year back in Sheffield, that everyone's aware Sheffield Eagles are again. We're aware that it's going to take us time to develop the brand and develop where we need to get to. And again, the business plan is quite sensible in that respect, because again, we are Sheffield Eagles, but we played a season in Wakefield, 2 seasons in Doncaster. We've been here, there and everywhere, so we need that solid base, and then go, right, we've got that base, we've got our foundations, that make that experience great at the Olympic Legacy Park, but then from that, how do we grow the business and grow the club? And just to wrap up this section, what are the aspirations for the club? We've got the plan in place. Where's the plan going? I don't think we've ever been shy about the fact that we always would like Super League back in Sheffield. We know that's tough because, again, our crowd base is low at the minute. We need to build our fan base. We need to build the commercial side. We need to build the club back up on that side of things, but also that other clubs are going for it as well. So you've got York, you've got Newcastle, you've got Featherstone, Leigh, Bradford, all these clubs that got aspirations to get back into Super League, and there's only a certain number of places that can be put in Super League. What that is in the next 2, 3, 4 years, whether they lower the division, whether they increase the numbers, we're not sure. So we're fighting against them, but also we need to make sure we're a as best as we can be to make sure we're on par, if not better than those clubs. But we're probably down the pecking order at the minute, but against some clubs. Newcastle's just gone full time. York's got a fantastic new stadium and getting great crowds. Featherstone's always done well with crowds, so has Bradford. So we know